Country roads take me home.
André,
What, Sarah?
What do you think about life in an American suburb?
Life in an American
Yeah.
suburb. That actually sounds quite great. I can imagine both of us sitting in our front backyard watching a couple of raccoons destroying our neighbor's trash.
Oh, are you sure?
No, not really, actually. I don't know anything about American suburbs. That's why we are going to react to this one. Culture Shock, a British perspective on American suburbs. Sarah, say hello to our friends.
Hi guys!
Our friends, thank you so much for all the support. We really appreciate that. That's it, Sarah. Ask them for the most important thing.
Guys, leave a like, thumbs up.
And if they subscribe,
You make our day.
damn right. Link for the original video below. By the way, nowadays you can also hype a video. Let's go.
Hello. I've lived in
Hi,
my
Lawrence.
first American house now for about 3 or 4 months, and I've been getting a lot of
congrats.
questions from people back home saying things like, Lawrence, what's it like to live in American suburbia after all
Yeah.
this
I'm
time?
curious
and I don't
too.
really have an easy answer for that. Obviously, I've never lived in American suburbia before, but something that you've got to understand about us British people is that we have a sort
Beautiful.
of romantic view of
No, for sure there is a romantic view about American
Yeah.
suburbs. But to be fair, I mean, in San Antonio, if you are not aware, we went to San Antonio, Texas. We saw suburbs that look like this one.
Just like that, yeah.
Yeah, just like that. And I think they are quite beautiful. Of course, there is suburbs that are more rich, others more middle class.
With houses, with
Ma-
designs more simple.
Yeah, more simple. But overall, the houses felt huge no matter what, actually.
Beautiful, everything put together.
Yeah. No, the American that's why a lot of Europeans romanticize about the American suburbs.
Yeah,
I
right.
feel like.
sort of romantic view of what American suburban life might be like. And that's partly due to how we've received the information through films such as
Yeah.
those of
Yeah.
John Hughes or Suburban Commando with Hulk Hogan. And we usually come away from it thinking, all right, so American suburbia is this place that is not to be trusted whatsoever, at the same time being a place that Americans most want to live. And so now that improbably I find myself living in American suburban land, it's time to answer, what is it actually like living there?
Okay.
And my answer to that question does come in several parts, but I'm going to break it down into just 2. No, probably several. The first word that comes to mind when I think of my life here in American suburbia is quiet. And I know what you're thinking. Lawrence, quiet is just code for boring. And let me tell you.
No, it is.
No, it isn't. I mean, living in American suburbs seems much better than living in the middle of the city. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
yeah.
silence. You can grow your family in peace. I prefer that way.
Yeah, that is true. It's quite boring here, but that's not necessarily a criticism. That just means that no bad stuff happens.
Right.
You wouldn't think it listening to Suburban Sue, but for the most part, no bad stuff happens. It's really quiet, but it's boring, right? There are no barcades for 4 miles. That's why I got a dog. Taking your dog for a walk around here is one of the best
So
things
nice.
you can do. You suddenly become
Yeah, the thing that he's saying, it's boring, that's a tremendous quality, because, I mean, it's your place, is where you rest, is where you try to find peace of mind, so this is an amazing thing.
Yeah, it's for you relaxing.
Yeah, for you to relax. And the thing is, American suburbs, at least again in San Antonio, but I'm assuming is similar to a lot of places, yeah, they are I would say, far away from the city, but the infrastructure in America is very good that in a couple of minutes they are into the highway
Right.
going to the city. So I really like the way America does the suburbs, the way America was constructed.
Yeah. It's perfect.
I'm
For
not-
me, it is. Yeah.
I think something that we can criticize is sidewalks is not a big thing overall in America.
Yeah, I can see that.
Look, this shows exactly that. Here, my friends, we would have a sidewalk, because the landowner needs to do that for. There is a lot of rules about that basically, but it's close to perfect to me.
part of this committee of dog owners, and you bump into other members of this committee, and they all talk to you as if they've known you your entire life. And for me, this wasn't part of the bargain. This wasn't part of the deal of getting a dog. I didn't think I'd have to talk to any other humans. That was one of the good things of getting away from the city. But now, if you have a dog on a leash, specifically if he's a puppy, suburban Americans will talk to you. Now, thankfully, they mostly talk at the dog, so you don't really have to even make eye contact if you don't want to. And that's good, being British. But everyone and their mother has a dog. And actually, now that I've said that out loud, I realise it's not quite true, because there are some people who, in their yards, have these signs that say, no dogs allowed. Who are you to say that dogs aren't allowed? Right? This land that you've been paying a mortgage on and you think you own, you don't own it anymore. My dog owns it. Look, he did a little poo in your garden. What are you going to do? Oh, you're coming at me with a rake. All right. But speaking of yard signs, Americans are big fans of those, aren't they? Even in the off-season, right? Even when there's no politics happening whatsoever, which is never, when there's no election, people will have yard signs about all kinds of things. I passed one the other day that said something like, drive like your kids are playing in the street. And they obviously weren't familiar with...
Actually, a couple of months ago, I did a video, maybe 1 year ago at this point. I did a video that I said to our viewers to send photos from their home. And I got a lot of photos actually. People send a bunch of photos with their house, their backyard, their front yard.
Okay.
And most of them had signs. Yeah.
Okay.
For example, go Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris was going against Trump. Others that go Trump, something like this.
Okay.
It's something that we don't see here at all, my friends.
No.
That type of signs, specific politic, but no type of signs, to be fair. But the political thing is true. I saw a bunch of some people going for the left, others for the right, but
You
saw
have
that a lot.
the freedom to put what is in your mind.
Yeah, but you know what?
That's good.
That's good,
Yeah.
but in other end, I was like, man, if your neighbor, let's say, that I got actually a bunch that said Kamala Harris, others that said Trump. And I was thinking, what if your neighbor does not like Kamala Harris? Or what if your neighbor... You can create some tension, maybe.
You think the neighbor could be offended by that?
I mean, at the end of the day, people have the freedom to
speak,
to speak, and if they believe in one versus the other, that's fine. But I mean, we are all also human in the sense that, oh, I don't like that guy. He likes that, it happens for sure. So I don't think it should happen because, what we know at the end of the day, right? But yeah, it's something that here for sure would create a lot of tension. Yeah, if people
for sure,
speak right that. I mean, in this case, it's not even speaking; it's putting a sign in front of your door. It's crazy.
My game, because I don't have...
But this goes for both sides, no matter what, because I saw a lot that said Trump, but I also saw a lot that said Kamala. So,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
I even saw a couple that said Biden, because I think Biden was supposed to run, but then they ended up choosing Kamala, something like that.
Drive like your kids are playing in the street. And they obviously weren't familiar with my game because I don't have kids and I don't drive. So it just prompted me to want to ride around on my bicycle with reckless abandon. Might try it, actually, and see what people do.
See, but this for sure, this video is, this is more Midwest, North. Texas does not have all of those trees, I feel like.
But for all of its boring niceties, it's a good place to live, this, Quiet can be good. Quiet can be, especially if you're making YouTube videos, which I commonly am. The only noises you hear around here are that of cardinals and hoses and lawnmowers. But the other word that pops into my head, more so here than I think anywhere else I've lived in the United States, is the word rectangle. And that's because everybody lives in their own little rectangle here, don't they? It's not just the house in which they live. Their garden is rectangular, although admittedly that's usually the same in Britain. But their streets are rectangular. Where I live in the Chicago suburbs,
but I feel like this is kind of the same everywhere, to be fair.
It's just one giant collection of rectangles. In fact, you might even say it's a babushka doll of rectangles. Because while Cook County isn't itself rectangular, it is surrounded by counties.
It's a bunch of rectangles and squares, to be fair. But I think this happens there. I think Lawrence says this all the time, that America is about rectangles and squares. But I think that's the entire world, not just America. You know?
It is the same, yeah.
That are. And I imagine that within those counties you have rectangular streets, and within those streets you have rectangular gardens containing
Okay.
American flags, which by their very nature are rectangular, and
All
also
flags are
include
rectangular.
14 rectangles plus some stars. It doesn't really matter how you slice it. Here in American suburbia, there's always 4 sides to every argument.
Oh, so nice. Look at the fall colors. Oh,
Ah, so beautiful.
Beautiful.
And look at the white fence. This is classic American suburb.
it is.
Man,
Wow.
but this is probably rich, you know. If you
Do
have,
you think it is a rich?
If you have the white fence,
Oh, yeah, right.
you are doing well in life. Am I right, my friends, or not? Maybe this is a stereotype.
One impression that those films and American stereotypes in general used to give me is that all of these houses in American suburbia come equipped with a white picket fence. And I have to say, just walking up and down my street, I haven't seen a single white picket fence. Mind you, that's probably because the squirrels ate them all. Instead, if you have a...
Nah. There is no way the squirrels eat the...
Okay.
You think the squirrels...
I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe
fence,
it's
usually
possible.
one of those chain link fences that makes you feel like you're in some sort of animal prison or a Hell in a Cell match, which suddenly starts to undercut this rosy feeling that we're supposed to have about American suburbia.
Yeah, those fences, honestly, I know they are more practical, but the white fences are quite more beautiful than
Yes,
this.
I agree.
And you get all kind of knocks at the door, don't you? It's like, oh look, here's one of the neighbours with a massive welcoming cake, and I can't remember her name because she has a massive welcoming cake. And that's all I'm thinking about. I've just remembered I told her to watch my channel. So if you're watching, Cake Woman, thank you for the cake. What's your name? But more egregiously, you'll get those people come to your door saying, I'm not actually them, but I represent AT&T and would love to do you a deal on, I don't know, solar paneling. I don't know why
It's people trying to sell stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
AT&T does that. They do in my head, because everything just becomes one jumbled mess of offers that come to your postbox or just verbally to your face. And I can't stand it anymore, because it happens all the time. I'm sure other homeowners are quite familiar with getting letters through your letterbox that say, oh, big urgent news about your mortgage, and you open it up and it's this offer to refinance your house right here, right now. And if you don't do it now, you will spontaneously combust. And sadly, a lot of that literature isn't recyclable, so it just goes straight in the trash. And the same is true of all of the mortgage-related emails and text messages and friend requests.
You know what? Advertising in America is pretty wild.
Yeah,
That I think is true.
I thought the same. Yeah.
Yeah, they really, I mean, capitalism there is insane.
And the other thing about American suburbia, the thing that I was most convinced of as a child when I visited Florida in 1990, is that people's yards are just so pristine they look like they came off a movie set. But it turns out,
Right.
at least here in the Midwest, that that is completely and utterly a little bit untrue. Because for the longest time,
But this is because the snow, it's cold,
Yeah.
you know, the grass cannot sustain it. But this in the summer or spring to summer, it will look good for sure.
during winter, that grass is yellow and looks like it's gonna die. But, like I said, the sprinklers do turn up around this time of year, and suddenly you do see pristine gardens, mostly grass. That's mostly what you will see in an American garden, is just a big stretch of grass. In England, it's a bit different. We tend to have that kind of English garden mentality where we do overload it with plants in a good way. You don't often see that as much here. So it does all come down to how people keep their lawns. That is
That's a good point. They don't put a lot of flowers. They really like the green grass and that's it.
Yeah. They like simple.
Yeah, kind of clean.
Yeah.
That's that. Actually, this is a really good point.
It's
Here
a
people put-
culture thing. Yeah.
it's a culture thing, but here if you have a garden, you put flowers, trees, it becomes a mess to be fair.
the attractive feature of an American garden. And for the most part, I think that you see gardens here in suburbia that are well kept. People do mow their lawns. But every now and again, you'll be walking along and you stop yourself in your tracks because you come across this house that's abandoned with just grass that looks like a forest. Generally speaking, though, that kind of thing is rare here in suburbia, just because I think that once it's detected, somebody will want to do something about it. You know, Joe from down the street might just bring his lawnmower and take care of it for free. I would demand payment for that. So, Joe, they're taking you to the cleaners, whoever they are. And speaking of houses, this is something that took me by surprise. I've often said on this channel that, oh, American houses are absolutely bloody huge, right? Well, they are, but there's a varying degree of hugeness.
Okay, come on, what is this footage?
This is a mansion.
Yeah, what? Okay, this they are big, but not this big.
Because what I found is you could have a mid-size house, even a small house, on the same street as a mansion down at the end. I mean, that happens on my street. If you walk a few houses that way, you...
No, okay. The thing is, it is true that we saw smaller homes in San Antonio. Again, we are using San Antonio because it was the city that we spent the most time at. But even what Americans consider small is kind of the same thing with fast food. Kind of like our large shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think there is a really big difference. For example, I thought Mustang, I thought it was a massive car because it is a big car.
It is. Yeah.
I felt I was driving a really small car in America. The first time I was driving the Mustang and I saw a truck on the I saw a truck. I was like, oh my god, it's like a shadow because but this actually happened. There was a big shadow the first time I was driving the Mustang. And it was a Chevy Silverado or something. I was like, what the hell is that?
come across the mid-size houses, and I don't know how they cope with such little space. I'm joking, this is not a mansion. And so, since my British friends have been asking, those are some of my...
But let me say one thing. You realize very fast that the Mustang is a small car.
It's a small car in the US.
In the US,
here,
it is big.
Yeah,
but
it's big.
You start drive, you look at the mirrors, and you realize really fast that it's a small car.
Yeah.
Observations of what it's actually like to live in American suburbia. By the time summer rolls around, I'll probably have 15 million more observations, so stay tuned for those. In the meantime, I'm going to leave now and take the puppy for a walk and tell him not to jump up at Suburban Sue too much. My name's Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter at Lost in the Pond US, and whatever you're doing now, you've got to stop it and watch this video. Thank you!
Actually, we already watched that one.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you.
The American suburbs. So famous and so nice.
Yeah, beautiful.
No, beautiful stuff for sure. Say goodbye to our friends.
Bye, guys.
Bye, my friends.